Mr. Carver, there are 5,000 Eritreans each day trying to head to Europe. What's the solution?
The solution is political stability in Eritrea. What we have to do, there are so many issues surrounding this. Obviously, we've got the human rights abuses, and I think actually the awarding, and if you've just heard, we've been watching the debate in the chamber, the awarding of further funding to the Eritrean government, even the most supportive pro-European MEPs in the European Parliament are questioning this. It's absolutely ridiculous that the Commission have actually not listened to concerns raised by various MEPs, various committees, senior politicians within the European Parliament, and EDF has still awarded large amounts of funds. It's a ridiculous situation. What we've got to be focused on actually is sorting out what is going wrong in Eritrea. Very huge human rights abuses, and actually we should be sending the right message, and rather than sort of just throwing extra funds at Eritrea. That's not the answer. That doesn't help the political prisoners. That doesn't help the breaches of human rights. That doesn't help the ridiculous situation. I mean, there's an ongoing border dispute, with Ethiopia and itself. Why aren't they now moving at that and looking to see if we can get the Eritreans back to the table and start acting like responsible people? It's not happening. We have this vitally, strategically important parts of Africa, the Horn of Africa. We've got the ongoing troubles with Al-Shabaab in the lower end of Somalia. We've got support being given, by Somaliland, by Somalia, by Ethiopia to refugees fleeing the civil war in the Yemen. There is a lot of good going on there, but of course we have to lead by example, and by leading by example and making the Eritrean government actually wake up to their international responsibilities, actually their responsibilities to their own citizens, is surely the way to be going, not just giving them extra funding.
Do you think the voice of the Parliament can be heard by the Commission, or they became totally autistic and they will go on with their own plans?
Well, if the voice was certainly said, and you heard that, from people I often have deep political arguments with, in the chamber, all sides of the chamber were condemning what has been done with regards to. So the answer is, I wouldn't say autism is the right word to be using, but I think certainly, should we say, the hearing aid has been turned off. They're not listening, and doesn't it show really how little power the European Parliament has? As someone who campaigns against my country's membership of the European Union, it's a classic example of how little power the European Parliament has. We have politicians from all sides arguing about this decision, and they carry on regardless. And it's quite clear that the Commission only acts in the interests of the Commission and doesn't want to be accountable to the European Parliament. And here's a classic example.
Do you think that our European Union has powers to change the situation in Eritrea from outside? Do you think really there is such a pressure, or European factor is considerable enough for Eritrean government to change their policies?
No, it's not, and it certainly hasn't helped them. What they've done here is just exacerbated the situation further by making this further grant of money. As I said in my speech, I was calling for more regional dialogue. I spoke about what Ethiopia is doing, very much, in the fight against Al-Shabaab. Got 130,000 Eritreans now, refugees, have sanctuary within Ethiopia. So it's not about the European Union. The European Union are confusing matters. Let's work with the actors, the international actors. Let's work with the United Nations, who I think probably have far more respect in this area. And more importantly, let's work with the African Union. Let's work with IGAD. There has to be an approach on the ground from neighbours, geographically close people, who I feel can put far greater influence on the Eritrean government to respond, rather than sort of the usual cries from the West. Yes, of course it's right, and it's right we're crying out about these terrible abuses. But of course, let's not just actually send a message that it's the West that are concerned about this, because there are many countries within the African Union and within IGAD who share our concerns. And I think the only solution really is to have a regional approach to this as well.